Assalamu alaikum dear students, this is Mr. Muhammad Shallakh from Communication Skills course. Today we are going to start Unit 8, which is entitled Living in the City. If you look here, we have three pictures. The first picture is for a city which is called Rome, and the second one is for Copenhagen, and the third one is Dubai. Because we are talking about cities, it's important to understand how to introduce these cities to audience in a presentation. So here, first of all, we have an exercise which is about a lecturer called Brian Davis. What is Brian Davis doing? Is he explaining examples, or is he giving an outline, or finally, is he answering questions? Listen to the track, please. Then try to choose one of these choices to give me what is the topic or the gist of this lecture or introduction.
8.1
Good morning, listeners, and welcome to Top 3. Today we are very happy to have Brian Davies, Professor of City Planning at Newland University, to talk about his top 3 cities. Welcome.
Thank you, Janet. Well, I found this an extremely difficult task. There are so many remarkable cities in the world. To help myself with this task, I decided to choose 3 different criteria. I decided to choose one city that is the best for history, or the past. My second city is, I think, the best to show change, so it's best for the present. And my third city is the best for the environment, so it's the best for future of our planet. So, with these as my criteria, I chose the 3 cities. So, I am going to talk about, first, Rome, which, in my opinion, is the best city for history. Then I'll discuss Dubai, which I think is the best for change. And finally, I'll talk about Copenhagen, which is the best city for the environment.
After listening to Brian Davis, it's easy to understand that he was introducing his topic by giving an outline to the cities that he is going to present. So he started talking about what is he going to say about the history and what example he's going to give, which is Rome, and the second city, Copenhagen, and the third city, Dubai, and what does each one present. So here he gave us these topics. This introduction is what we call an outline, which means the main lines of the presentation. So here now we will continue working again on the same 3 cities. And this exercise, we are going to find which 3 topics will Brian Davis talk about. Listen again to the same track and choose the 3 topics. Listen.
8.1
Good morning, listeners, and welcome to Top 3. Today we are very happy to have Brian Davies, Professor of City Planning at Newland University, to talk about his top 3 cities. Welcome.
Thank you, Janet. Well, I found this an extremely difficult task. There are so many remarkable cities in the world. To help myself with this task, I decided to choose 3 different criteria. I decided to choose one city that is the best for history, or the past. My second city is, I think, the best to show change, so it's best for the present. And my third city is the best for the environment, so it's the best for future of our planet. So, with these as my criteria, I chose the 3 cities. So I am going to talk about first Rome, which, in my opinion, is the best city for history. Then I'll discuss Dubai, which I think is the best for change. And finally, I'll talk about Copenhagen, which is the best city for the environment.
Yes, after listening to the 3 topics, it's easy to understand that he chose history as the first topic to talk about, and he took the example of Rome, and the second one was Copenhagen, and he talked about the environment of Copenhagen, and finally the change of Dubai. So finally now it is the time to write the outline that Brian Davies used in his presentation to introduce his topic or topics and the cities he is going to talk about. So this is the last time we are going to listen to the same track, and I want you to write the 3 topics, topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, as the exact order, and to give the names of these 3 cities. Listen again.
8.1.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome to Top 3. Today we are very happy to have Brian Davies, Professor of City Planning at Newland University, to talk about his top 3 cities. Welcome.
Thank you, Janet. Well, I found this an extremely difficult task. There are so many remarkable cities in the world. To help myself with this task, I decided to choose 3 different criteria. I decided to choose one city that is the best for history, or the past. My second city is, I think, the best to show change, so it's best for the present. And my third city is the best for the environment, so it's the best for the future of our planet. So, with these as my criteria, I chose the 3 cities. So, I am going to talk about first Rome, which, in my opinion, is the best city for history. Then I'll discuss Dubai, which I think is the best for change. And finally, I'll talk about Copenhagen, which is the best city for the environment.
So now it's the time to form the outline of the presentation, which helps the presenter to introduce the topics that he's going to cover in the presentation. So Brian Davies here chose history as the first topic of his presentation, and he chose Rome as an example of that topic. And the second topic is change, and he chose Dubai. And the third one is the environment, and how Copenhagen is a good example for this city. Here in this slide, it's important to understand that you can use some diagrams, shapes, that helps you to present the information in an easy and interesting way. For example, if you look at the first chart on the left, we have here column chart. If you see, we have 3 columns. We have Rome, we have Dubai, we have Copenhagen, and these are the 3 cities. On the left side, we have population million. So you can compare the 3 cities here, Rome to Dubai and to Copenhagen, in relation to population. So you can say, for example, the population in Rome is around 2.5 million, which is higher than the population in Dubai, which is 2.2 or approximately 2.2 million. And these 2 cities have population more than Copenhagen, which is about 1.7 million. So here you can compare the population of the cities. You can use this chart, column chart. The second one is the timeline. You can compare the cities according to the time. For example, when you talk about the past, you are talking about ancient Rome. Present, we are talking about Dubai. Copenhagen, we are going to talk about the future because they care about the environment and how are they going to make their country green in the future. And the last one, which is most common and used by presenter, which is the time or mind map, which is the mind map. If you look at the circle in the middle, which is cities of the world, in the blue, dark blue, cities of the world. Here we have three around branches. We have Rome, Dubai, Copenhagen. So here the presenter will use this mind map to start presenting the points in steps. So he put the outline in circles or in rounds here like a mind map, and then from each city he will talk about the topics or the subtopics. So in Rome is the main topic, and he will talk about the visitors, which here we have 10 million visitors, and then he will talk about the history. After that, the historical places. According to Dubai, the presenter will talk about how Dubai is an international city and how Dubai is a modern city, and he will talk about the buildings in Dubai. Finally, he will talk about Copenhagen, about how green is Copenhagen, why do they use bicycles, and the population of that city. So it's your choice to choose the way of presenting your information. It's important to remember that in the presentation, it is very important to use diagrams, mind maps, timelines without writing much information, just only few words, and you will explain from these words. Now here on the right side, we have two pictures. If you look at these pictures, you may recognize or know these places if you visit or watch them on TV or on your mobile, you receive some pictures. But if you look on the left side, you will find that in the blue boxes, we have two names. We have Berlin and Istanbul. So these cities these pictures are taken from Berlin and Istanbul. Now here, we are going to listen to a student is giving a presentation about Berlin and Istanbul, comparing them. He will compare the population, the visitors, universities, hospitals, and currency. Listen to the speaker and try to find out the missing information. So the approximate population, we don't have exact, we have approximate, which means that the speaker is not sure about the exact number. So here, write down the information, the missing numbers, then we will check our answers together. And please try to get also the way of presenting the information. How is the writer comparing between these two cities? What is he going to use as comparative adjectives? Listen, please.
8.5.
Both Berlin and Istanbul are important world cities. They have been twin towns since 1989. If we compare their populations, we can see that Istanbul is far bigger than Berlin. It has a population of approximately 13 million, while Berlin has a population of 3.4 million. Istanbul also has far more visitors each year. Over 20 million visit annually, while Berlin receives around 7.5 million visitors. A comparison of the number of universities shows that Berlin doesn't have as many as Istanbul, but it has more hospitals. The figures for Berlin are 30 universities and 71 hospitals, compared with Istanbul, which has 44 universities and 49 hospitals. The current Berlin is the euro, and currently, in 2010, €1 is worth slightly less than 2 Turkish lira.
So now here we have the answers. it's clear to notice that the population in Berlin is 13 million and in Istanbul is 3.5 million. If you look at these numbers and if you put them in a diagram, in a column chart, you will notice that the population in Berlin is very big or bigger than the population in Istanbul. And here the population or the comparison is not small. We have here a big gap or big huge different numbers between these two populations. So here we say, for example, the population in Berlin is far bigger than the population in Istanbul. The second point is annual visitors. We have 7.5 in Berlin millions, and in Istanbul we have 20 millions. It is the same thing. The annual visitors in Istanbul is far bigger than the annual visitors in Berlin. And the same thing, we can compare the other cities. And in the next slide, we are going to learn how to use some words to help us comparing between data, the used data in the diagrams. Now here we are going to learn how to compare between cities. So if you look at the language bank here, comparing, look at the first sentence. If we compare, you can put here the example of two or any two cities you want. If we compare Berlin and Istanbul, if we compare, for example, Dubai and Muscat, if we compare Amman and Jerusalem, we can see that this city is bigger than this city. This city is farther, it has more population than this city. So here you can use this way of comparing, or a comparison of a population in Berlin and Istanbul shows that Berlin has more population than Istanbul, for example. Now, if you want to compare the size of the cities, look at the third example. Istanbul is far bigger than Berlin. When we say far bigger, we are comparing here different sizes, that one is small and the other is very big. So here we say far bigger than Berlin. And if the comparison is a little bit, look at the fourth sentence. Dubai is slightly smaller than Copenhagen. So if you look at the maps, you will think that they are close or similar, but one of them is smaller a little bit than the other. So we say slightly smaller. And sometimes if we have cities in the same size or they have same adjectives, same comparison, we say, for example, Dubai is almost as big as Copenhagen, which means that both of them are big or as small as. Then Rome is not as green as Copenhagen, which means that Copenhagen is greener or more green than Rome. The last one, if you want to compare also the cities, to combine them together from the beginning, you can say both Copenhagen and Dubai are modern cities. So you put both here to talk about the two cities together. So now here in the box below, we have an example of the introduction of comparing Berlin and Istanbul. We are going to listen to the presenter, and I want you to fill in the missing information. We have 1, 2 to the end. If you look here at the beginning, number 1, space, Berlin, 2, Istanbul are important world cities. What words can you use here? Look at the box at the top, where we compared two cities and we put a word at the beginning. I think you will say both Berlin and Istanbul are important world cities. So let's listen to the presenter and write down the missing words. Listen, please.
8.6.
Both Berlin and Istanbul are important world cities. They have been twin towns since 1989. If we compare their populations, we can see that Istanbul is far bigger than Berlin. Istanbul also has far more visitors each year. A comparison of the number of universities shows that Berlin doesn't have as many as Istanbul, but it has more hospitals. The currency of Germany is the euro, and in 2010, €1 was worth slightly less than 2 Turkish lira.
So now here we have the answers. Check your answers, please, and compare them to mine. Here is a good example that you can learn from the speaker of comparing the cities. You can use the same way when you are using or starting any presentation, or if you want to compare some cities, you can use these words. So please learn from the language bank, memorize these sentences and use them in your presentation when you talk about the table as we explained earlier. This is the end. Please learn from this presentation or from this video again and again. Watch it 2 or 3 times and try to imitate, learn from it how to use it, use the language in comparing cities, because this is what we are going to apply in the coming lectures of comparing cities together. Thank you very much.